If this is successful, not only does that call into question the practices used for breast cancer, but then it starts making people all around the world. How many charities make millions every year off of, let's look for a,
we're still looking for a cure to AIDS. The honeybee. Looks like medical breakthrough. Honeybee venom kills hard to treat breast cancer cells within 1 hour in new study. So the original study you said you found on BBC was talking about what?
Yeah, no, it was saying the same exact thing. It was saying
really?
this a particular honeybee venom, which was more concentrated, quite amazing. But yeah, it was the Australian scientist, this melittin, whatever that is. So they found that the venom and melittin affect the function of EGFR and HER2 proteins on breast cancer cells.
I see. Scientists at the Harry Perkins Institute, medical research in Perth, Australia, and the University of Western Australia, who were involved in the study, say that they are hopeful but cautious. Further testing needs to be done. So it's that right there. It's that stuff right there. This is the stuff right here that I understand why they have to put this in here, but this is the type of stuff that prevents it from getting funded properly.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing, because first off, what this really means is we need somebody with money to back this type of research. Mm-hmm. And who's going to back this kind of research other than the people who can profit from it, big pharma? So even if this is true, it will be put behind such a paywall that this is a premium treatment, experimental premium treatment that only certain people can afford to have done. The rest of you guys, we need you on the stuff that we already been pumping out, which is chemotherapy,
radiotherapy.
This is the treatment that's for you, the plebs. The people who can find this treatment and actually have it done, then yeah. The venom was extremely potent, says Dr. Claire Duffy, who led the research.
Sierra Duffy.
Oh, Sierra? I thought it was Claire. We found that melittin, I really want to say that right, melittin, can completely destroy cancer cell membranes within 60 minutes. That's crazy, actually.
Yeah, because they were saying, like how they said in that statement, on these more research, the statement that the scientists made was, it's one thing for it to work in a lab setting, I guess in a petri dish, but that it would take more research and stuff.
What would be the vector?
Change medical practices.
Yeah, what would be the vector to bring it to the cell, basically? Because you have like the vector for Zika, basically, is a specific mosquito. It's not just any mosquito. It's a specific type of mosquito that bring in America, that bring it and it makes it available to the body and bioavailable for it to be in the environment to bring it to a human body, potentially. So this is basically the same thing. Yeah, we know that this is out here, but how do we put it in something that will deliver it directly to where we need it to go? It has to be the correct vector to get it to the breast cell. I mean, if you just go injecting venom or any type of chemical into any spot, you don't know what the adverse effects can be. Yeah, it doesn't destroy it in the lab setting, like you said, but with somebody who's a smoker or somebody who, eats incorrectly, there could be things in their body and their bloodstream that could react to this venom that could cause, adverse effects that we couldn't predict in a lab setting. So I understand where they're going, but it's just like the way that you word this stuff, it already lets me know that, yeah, this is a possibility, but it's going to take the backing of some company who can be willing to take that risk just in case there are some adverse cases where people die. You have to be able to front this bill, because if the school does it or whatever, they can't be held accountable for that. Pfizer can. Obviously, they let niggas die from the vaccine, so,
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'm completely adverse to this, because it's like chemotherapy. Everybody knows that the success rate, the percentage of people who it actually works for versus the people that it basically just makes them worse is so high. I don't know how we could justify trying to take something that's natural that's already been shown that it can work. How hard could it be to inject? I mean, I get what you're saying, but how hard could it be to just inject this thing at a small dose, monitor the effect of what it's having on the person over a couple of days? Surely, if I'm a person with cancer or something, I'm more receptive to this than I would be this other thing that you're trying to do, where I'm going to lose my hair, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, it's just like, yeah, I feel like these are very sorry excuses. Like you said, it's got to make money. People don't, and we know this already. It's like clear to see. There's no conspiracy theory anymore. It's like, big pharma and places like this, they pay a lot of money to keep things like this off of the radar, just so
to keep it ambiguous like this.
to keep
Who's
the
funding this research?
That's what I'm saying.
You know, so they say the Western University block. Who is putting money in those dudes' pockets?
Nobody's gonna
Who's paying that university? Who's paying the dudes that put money into the university?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you have to always. You want to figure out why something ain't came out. Follow the money.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the money. Yeah, this Australian. Why is it Australia finding this? Why is not one of our Ivy League schools in America? Why did Pfizer have to come up with the cure and not any of the hundreds of medical schools, world-renowned medical schools, hosting all kinds of research? You know what I'm saying? You have to follow the money.
But imagine breast cancer. Like I said, breast cancer is the most common cancer affecting women around the world. If this is successful, not only does that call into question the practices used for breast cancer, but then it starts making people all around the world. We got, I mean, how many charities make millions every year off of, let's look for a.
We're still looking for a cure to AIDS.
Looking for, just focused on cancer. We still spending all this money on supposed research, bro, and we got something coming out saying, hold on, the venom in bees, which you already know, the honey from bees offers health benefits. This is a fact. For thousands of years, it's been used in many civilizations. I think it's a great chance that this could be something that works. But it's like, if you allow this, it calls into question, okay, well, what things are out there in the natural world, which people have been saying for years anyway. Like, I remember hearing some story, I don't know how true it is, I probably need to look it up, where it's like, at one point, I think somewhere near the Amazon or somewhere, they found a plant that was basically healing cancers. The niggas came back, like, however long later, they was gone. It was cleared up. It was like,
yeah, it ain't nothing to pay a couple goons to go pay. Hey, show them a picture of this flower and make sure none of these exist anymore. Some dudes, you pay somebody enough, they will make it their mission to make sure this. And they ain't gotta tell you why. They just like, hey, look, this is a poisonous flower. We need this taken out.
We're gonna pay you X amount of money.
You're doing a good favor for society.
You know what I mean?
So this is the hey. I ain't here to talk about shadow cabals and the Illuminati and all that, but yeah, bro, just follow the money. You want to know anything? Follow the money.
Bro, 100%. I mean, let's put this down to the streets, man. If one dude get the best coke in the world, you know what I mean, and then everybody find out he got the best plug or whatever, at some point they don't really care about getting what he got. They just need to get rid of this guy to make sure that he can't put that stuff out no more. Because they were doing all right with what they were selling. But because you starting to bring something that's better than what they got,
and they don't have access to it.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. They don't. It's not about let's go get his plus so we can have the same. It's like they want you to be gone, and they probably just want to eradicate that good stuff too. Because they're like, man, we were doing all right with what we got. We don't need this because then now basically the standards go up. You allow this down, and it's like even if I do get that, I have to continue being able to get that. If I can't, then nobody wants to have what I got no more. So it's like it's simple economics, bro. Like a corporation is much richer than a lot of these drug dealers. So, I mean, they pay you millions in fine, 100 million something fines,
billions,
like they're nothing. And be like, okay, yeah, sorry, we shouldn't have did that. And pay the fine and keep doing what
Get right back to it.
Get right back to it.
Change a little chemical in it and be like, oh, this is a new.
It's much safer now.
Yeah, this one's not as addictive.
And what we have to remember is these pharma companies are drug dealers. People seem to forget that. But yeah, I was interested to see what people comments would be. Actually, I was more interested in that scene.
We could start spending so much money and time trying to harm each other. Further proof of the importance of the bees. Yet another reason to save the bees. Yeah, save the boobies.
Always been nature. Why we abuse it is beyond me. True. Now to do study. That's what I'm saying. This is where I feel like science should be in play. Science job is to take what God has already given us and try to further it. But we try to figure out how to just either take from it to the point where we're not even trying to think about, make sure we give much back to it just as much as we take, or we just want to destroy it in general.
Yeah, I like what this person said. He said, I hope these scientists don't also mysteriously disappear. Like Jeffrey Epstein, they just find themselves getting hung in their own cells somehow. You know?
Bees fixing.
That's what I'm saying. This ain't bad news. Figure out who they the ones funding it. I promise you, bro. This research don't get funded just spontaneously. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's just because that's what it'll end up being like. And if they do start taking, I like that comment. Like, oh, this is just in. American hospitals don't own all honeybees. What will happen is if they do things on, then it'll become illegal for you to make. You wouldn't be able to have your own bee farm no more.
Or it must be regulated. You must get a permit.
Even if you just want to use it for yourself.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not allowed.
No,
That's not allowed. You must have this much land to do it.
You got to register each bee.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah. We need to know how many bees you have at all times.
Don't you dare sell your own honey to people. No.
You gotta know what's in there. You got to put a label on it. It's got to be FDA approved. Yeah, 100%, bro. This is good right here. How does it work if you're allergic to the bee venom? This is actually a good question. I don't know the specific mechanics in it, but yes, bee venom is not just one chemical. So what they would need to pull out is the source thing that's helping with the cancer treatment and take away the rest of it. And most of the time, you're not allergic to just the venom. You're really allergic to a protein. It's something that your body can't break down. It's typically a protein. This is where we have allergic reaction. Okay. I don't want to report.
And even then, I think, like I said,
this is a good question.
Melatonin
or something?
Melatonin, yeah.
Melatonin.
From the article I read, they were actually saying they know the chemical, and I think it was that chemical melatonin, and they were saying it could actually be synthetically. So they already know that it can be synthetically produced too. So. Yeah, I can't see that being a problem because, like you said, allergic isn't.
But it's a good question because this is the type of stuff I would get in public health. You would say something like this, and they'd be like, "Well, I don't react good to this," and it's like, "Oh, well, you don't understand the full mechanics of what it is you're not reacting to. Mm-hmm. This is separate from that." Like people say they can't.
But that's like saying you're allergic to milk, but no, we know you're allergic
to lactose,
or a specific enzyme or something.
Yes, it's lactose. You're lactose intolerant because it's not that you can't drink milk. You can't drink cow's milk.
Yes,
you can drink other milk. You can drink human milk.
Yeah.
You just can't drink the milk that we try to give everybody. You know what I'm saying? So you're lactose intolerant. Lactose is a part of it's a protein in the milk. So
and what factors are in that for that? Because I find it hard to believe that everyone is just some people are naturally allergic to natural milk. Mm-hmm. What is it about the process of how we're extracting this milk and making it that you may be allergic to rather than, you're just allergic? I find it hard to believe that people are just born.
Well, you also have societies like Asian people are more, like people from Asia, the continent, their descendants would be more likely to be lactose intolerant, and also they don't have milk in their diet like that. It's not something that they typically add to their diet. So it may not even be such you're broken. It's just like, well, your genetics was never really exposed to this enough to be able to build the tolerance for it, especially in the quantities that we drink it in today. You know, so how often were you drinking a gallon of milk in the past? You know, obviously, you had a farm where you were farming the cow or whatever, but it's like you weren't pumping a gallon of milk out of this cow every day, and everybody wasn't drinking their own individual gallon. So it's like the quantity of milk, the quality of the milk, like all of these things take into play. It's not just that you're allergic to, you know what I'm saying? Because you may be able to tolerate certain levels, but when you cross a certain threshold, this becomes a problem for your body to deal with. So, and then like you said, pasteurization, what does this do to lactose? Does it make it more volatile? Does it make it more, you don't know. We've never actually looked into this.
Because you gotta remember, a lot of civilizations, and even to this day, everybody knows the healthiest milk to drink, if it's done and you're doing it right, is raw milk, actually. Yeah. It's not all of that.
Well, that's what breast milk is.
You were actually meant to drink it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You wasn't supposed to start doing all this other stuff to it, because actually you need the enzymes that's inside, the live enzymes that's in the raw milk, because that actually furthers your healthy gut bacteria that you keep. Mm-hmm. And obviously, so that's what I'm saying. It's a lot more to it than, I'm allergic to bees. Like, I would like to know exactly what that would be, not just.
And is this the same chemical that you would be allergic to, or the same protein that you would be allergic to? That's really what you need to asking. But that's a good question to ask, because some people would just be like, I'm allergic to bees, I can't get this treatment. That's what they would say. They wouldn't even ask anybody, just be like, I'm allergic to bees, I can't have this.
But then, I would be like, well, I'd rather be allergic to the bees and deal with that reaction versus the chemotherapy, because we know that's literally your immune system.
But that's you, and that's you thinking on your plane. There's certain people who ain't even, this is not their realm of study, this isn't even something they concern themselves with. They just decided, or to go to the doctor one day and they were told they had breast cancer, and here's two options. One's chemo and one's from the bees. And you're like, I'm allergic to bees, so I'm going with chemo. It's not like it's a 1 to 2 second decision. It's not even that. You're not even given the full details. Even if the doctor could have helped you, you're still, at the end of the day, you're the one that chooses what treatment you should get.
But then what's crazy is, though, you can have the bees, but then there's natural antihistamines too in nature. So it's like, even if you were allergic, we got something that'll keep you from having an overreaction allergic. I think that would be better than.
But all of that requires education. You need to be educated on these things, otherwise you fear it. What you don't know, you fear. You know, it's just natural. It's a natural thing for all humans. What you don't know, you don't fear.
I think we just got. I do think though we have to get to a point as people where we need to stop thinking in such a. Is it? Would you say utopian type of way, like where it's like everything is just so. I don't know how to say it. Like I don't want to say modern, but it's just like everything has to be so futuristic. Where some things I feel like are just basic. Like nature is always going to be much more better for us.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. We're all we're progressing to the point where we don't believe anything from the past could actually help us. We're better. We have better solutions than they did in the past.
Yeah, we're more we are more trustworthy of something that's created artificially in a lab than if someone says, "No, bro, you don't have to do that. If you just take this oil, you'll be fine." You be like, "Nah, man, that don't even make sense." Like I've heard people say this, like, "Nah, it'd be too slow." But yeah, it probably won't work as instantly as them other things seem to work, but it's probably the better thing. You know what I mean? It's just like going to the gym, like building your muscles slowly is gonna be always better than trying to drink all this protein and do this and steroids, and then it don't last long either way. After once you stop a little bit, or it causes other problems. I feel like we got to the point where we're not patient with nature. We're like, nah, it's gonna take too long, so don't want it. It's like, well, it's definitely better and it definitely works. Nah, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things we know like are definitely better and work. Where people are like, well, it's not gonna happen right away, so no, can't be better than this pill that I can just take. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit peak right now. Let's say that you were saying London. It's peak, fam. Yeah, it's very peak. You know, the situation where we don't really trust nature anymore.
No, I think
You look at somebody as a monk, if they be like, "Oh, I'm a naturist or a naturalist or whatever you want to call it," you're like, "Oh, you one of those people." You know,
people want proof. People want proof
Yeah.
because we're all skeptics. At the end of the day, we're all skeptical of everything we hear and see, and it's like you already take all your information from the internet and from the TV. So it's like, if they haven't said it, if it hasn't been big news yet, then it can't be true.
And that's what I'm talking about. With that's I guess the utopian thing is like, nah, if it ain't what's being pushed at you on TV, then it's like, nope, can't be real. You know what I mean? I mean, still people are saying, you say, man, the government's quite corrupt. How can you say that? They really like. I just watched him talk on TV. He didn't look like he was lying. He was so articulate.
You think he's lying
because he was articulate? That's why you don't feel like
they pay him to lie.
Like that's not his. Yeah, like or like the guy with the vaccine that time you were like,
oh, that was honestly that's.
You really think they're just making money?
Like, yeah, that's how hospitals work. They're businesses. They're not free places. We all have to have insurance to go in there.
Like, bro, Pfizer was nothing until Corona, bro. Like.
Nobody even knew who these companies were until they created a vaccine.
Or you walk through the logistics or the logical steps of the situation. It's like, bro, they made a bill that told hospitals for each corona infection or death or did they get this much money off their taxes or write-off or government funding.
This is emergency funding for this type of situation.
You don't think they're going to say, oh, this person had COVID?
Every single death is COVID, as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
If you had COVID and died of cancer, you died of COVID. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
It's so naive that you got to explain that to people. Like, bro, that's common sense, bro.
Because your worldview is colliding with theirs. This is somebody's worldview. This is psychological, sociological terms. Just, yeah, bro. Their worldview does not agree with your worldview. Like you can see further than they can in certain areas, and they can see further in different areas that you can, because we all live in different worlds as far as we're concerned. So,
but that's a good point though. Like you said, people will be skeptical of this. They'll and it'd probably be the majority who would say no to this or something like that. But when the vaccine came out, and everybody knows they basically. They said, you can't sue. We're not releasing the research for 70 years. They're not doing this.
But the caveat to that was you can't rejoin society unless you get this.
And it's like, wow.
That's what it's really about. There was an ultimatum.
Society acceptance when it comes to any of
people were like, hey, I just want to go back and go to the concerts. I want to be able to go to basketball games and baseball games. I want to be entertained. And I can't do that in a crowd unless I'm vaccinated. So when you're given the ultimatum, you make a decision. Do I care about concerts and entertainment, or do I care about keeping my sovereignty?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some people will sell their sovereignty for a little bit of entertainment. Netflix can't cut it anymore.
Crazy.
Yeah. That's where we live in. But yeah, bees, man. Bees are good.
Yeah, bees, man. Save the bees, man.
Bees are good.
Save the bees.